This is what the Big Bend night sky is supposed to look like. Wild Yeti Films teammate Josh traveled 1,500 miles to Big Bend to capture one perfect time lapse. He had only 4 nights to pull it off. This was his first night, and this was his third.
I have to capture the Milky Way, no matter what.
There is a treasure that humanity has been losing for over a century. A universal inheritance our ancestors saw every single night. Today, 80% of Americans live under skies so washed out by artificial light they can no longer see our own galaxy. But here, in the vast empty heart of the Chihuahuan Desert, the darkness holds.
I've seen the photos, I've heard the stories, the darkest skies of North America. But how do you know unless you've really been there? My mission is simple. Get that one perfect time lapse of the Milky Way. That's all I want.
For Wild Yeti Films team member Josh, this was more than an assignment. It was a personal quest. He journeyed over 1,500 miles from his home in South Carolina for the legendary darkness of the Big Bend. He was determined to capture the perfect time lapse of the Milky Way, a sight he'd only ever seen in pictures. But as he would soon discover, the desert doesn't give up its secrets easily.
What I call the first night of bust, that's an understatement.
Why do people have this sort of baked-in interest in what goes on up in the sky? This is a good thing for a psychologist to study. I've yet to meet a person, ever, who has said, sky, nah, don't care. It just doesn't happen, you know?
To capture the cosmos, you first have to understand it. Defeated by his first attempt, Josh seeks out a man who has spent his life looking up, Dr. Grady Price Blunt, owner of Big Bend Observatory.
My bucket lists are kind of different than other people's. Just to grab that perfect picture, but the best picture I can grab. You know, talking to people like you and, you know, trying to figure out, you know, where is a great spot to go.
My favorite place out here is called Closed Canyon. And the walls are probably 80 or 90 feet high, but it's only about 20 feet wide. So it's a person-sized canyon, where Santa Elena, you just get, if you don't have something for scale, you don't even realize what you're looking at, you know. But Closed Canyon is a very, very cool place.
A connection to the universe. For us, it's a profound experience. For the first people who walked this land, it was a fundamental part of their world. The sky was their clock, their calendar, and their map.
Indigenous people were pretty smart folks. Half of their world was the sky, so they were looking at it and they saw where the sun was at different times of year, where the moon was at different times of the month, and how the patterns of the stars changed over the course of the year.
Across Texas, archaeologists have found ancient solar markers, art deliberately placed to interact with light and shadow on the solstices and equinoxes. These were precise instruments for tracking time, for knowing when to plant, when to hunt, and when to return home for the winter.
For them, it was survival. If you did not know when spring was coming, or if you did not know when it was about to become winter, you're dead.
They lived in a world where the boundary between earth and sky was thin, where every celestial event had meaning. They saw a sky we can now only glimpse in the darkest places on earth, a sky that told them everything they needed to know.
Ever since I moved out here full time, I am a lot more in tune with what's happening in the sky. It's the only thing that changes out here. I mean, you look at that mountain every day, for 1,000 days, it's still the same. You look at the sky, it's changing every night. It doesn't take long before you can figure out what those patterns are.
Be sure to hit like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you can join us for every Wild Yeti Films adventure. And if you have any amazing Big Bend stories or photos you'd like to share, be sure to send them to info@wildyetiFilms.com. We'd love to showcase your expeditions as well. Inspired by Grady's lessons of the past, Josh still faces a modern problem. To tell this ancient story, he needs a master of the modern tools.
You know, I take pictures of food, I take pictures of people, corporate headshots, and I love doing that, but taking pictures of the stars is my relaxation, and I'll gladly take that and do this, come out here for the rest of my life for all I care. My name is Ben Sassani, and I'm a professional photographer out of Houston, Texas.
This is truly on my bucket list to come out to a place like this, you know, the true, you know, dark skies. Is there anything I need to know about going into the mountains before?
Not really. I mean, the inside of the basin is a totally different look than the rest of the park is, just because it's such a high elevation.
Is the basin where you're thinking about trying to take me to go get some star shots, or you got something else in mind?
It's not usually the best spot to get in because you're sitting in a bowl. Gotcha. You know, there's other places in the park. You can go in the south part of the park, Santa Elena area. You can go to like the bunch of the vistas that they have. You can go on the west side. You can go on different hikes. I've done 2 a.m. drives to Balance Rock to make sure I can get the stars that I wanted aligned with the rocks in the middle of March before. So I mean, it's depending on how dangerous you want it to get, you know. In the city, there's light pollution. 90% of the stars are not visible. When you come out here and the first time you go out here, if you go to a dark area, it takes you about 10 to 15 minutes for your eyes to adjust once you're in there. As your eyes adjust, every single speck of the entire sky is covered with stars. And there's been many people that I've shown this to, the pictures that I've taken, and they always ask me, can you see that with your naked eye? And I go, absolutely.
So you have any hidden gems outside the park that we could go to?
Tons of them.
Tons of them?
There's ranch that we got access to. We're gonna go check that out. And I think that's gonna be the spot that we're gonna have today.
What is this? I mean, is it just a ranch?
It's supposed to be an old ranch that has a mine in it. I think that would be a great setup shot for the foreground to have the night sky over it, and it'll be unique to everything else that you have seen in the park or around the park.
A truly great photo of the night sky needs more than just stars. It needs a foreground that tells a story. Ben knew of a place off limits to most tourists, a location with a history as deep and mysterious as the night sky itself. The abandoned mining town, Villa de la Mina. Located on private property, its century-old stone ruins would provide the perfect haunting anchor for the celestial ballet above. To get access, they met up with this man, Steve Dyer, a realtor from Alpine, Texas, who holds the key to this lost piece of history. Before they could even scout the shot, Steve offered them a look at the property's biggest secret, a sprawling subterranean mine. But the ghosts and stories this place holds are a tale for another day. Josh and Ben left the mine and went on to the scout.
The location Ben picked out was fantastic. It had all the elements that we needed.
With the perfect location scouted, the plan was set. They would part ways and meet back at 1 a.m., 90 minutes before the core of the Milky Way would be in perfect position. But in the Big Bend, even the best laid plans are at the mercy of the desert. Josh had arrived in the heart of the spring windy season, a time when a perfectly calm evening can erupt into chaos without warning. Wind gusts were hitting 40 miles per hour. The shoot had to be postponed.
Very disappointed, but the desert does what the desert does.
The winds were just so crazy that my entire car was rocking, so I can't imagine that a tripod and a camera would stand those winds.
The next day, with time running out for Josh, they met for dinner to regroup and form a new strategy. They chose a local institution, the Starlight Theater, a restaurant built from the ruins of the old Terlingua Town Theater. Over dinner, they mapped out one last attempt, It was Josh's final night in Big Bend. There would be no other chances. After this, he would either go home with the shot he came for or with nothing at all.
I honestly thought I'd get shot on the first night. Now I'm down to the last night, and I still don't have it. So I'm leaving the house in Trilingua and heading out to this destination of the unknown. I can't wait. This is going to be so fun. It's funny, from last night to this.
Yeah, there's no tornadoes tonight. Crystal clear. Should be perfect tonight.
So load up and you'll take me to the destination.
Let's do it.
Great.
Last night would have been a big mistake.
Right. There's a nice chair. Now this one's the main camera. 16 to 35.
So is that like the 66 megapixel camera?
No, this is the 62 megapixel camera. Okay. This one I just have set up for time lapse already.
Okay.
Versus having to worry about setting that one up.
Gotcha.
So I want to set this one up on this. I think it's like weighs next to nothing.
That's what you want when walking around these hills.
That's exactly it. Bring out the feather pills real quick.
We'll be able to catch the whole thing coming up.
Yeah, so there's a hill right here in front of us.
Okay.
So the hill is right around 3:45, about 4 o'clock. It's going to be right there. Right now, if you take a picture of this, it's going to be completely yellows and greens because there's no color to this sky. Because there's no light on this sky. Yeah, you see the green colors? That's all you're going to get. That's much better. It was 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, yeah.
What time did we say it's coming up?
It's gonna start hitting around 2:30.
Okay. So we'll probably need to start shooting here pretty soon.
Yep.
Probably put a fresh battery in that too.
Well, you ready to get at it, buddy?
Let's get it.
On his final night, as the desert winds fell silent, Josh, with the help of a new friend, finally captured the shot he came for. It's a rite of passage that connects us not just to the universe, but to every human who has ever looked up in wonder. It's a reminder that the greatest spectacles are not on our screens, but they've been waiting above our heads all along. The quest for the perfect view, the ideal moment, has always drawn pioneers to the Big Bend. In the 1970s, a new kind of pioneer arrived. And they weren't looking up at the sky, but down the river. They were the river runners, the thrill seekers, the outfitters who saw this rugged wilderness not as a place to tame, but as a place to play. Next time on Expedition Tales of the Big Bend, we trace the history of adventure. From the first rafting companies to the world-class outfitters of today, we meet the legends who opened up this wild frontier to a new generation of explorers.